I'm gonna begin by asking. I mean, people of our generation can sometimes be a bit overwhelmed and kind of struggle to quite comprehend the Second World War and the kind of monstrosities that took place. And I was just wondering if, when you get into the heads and have to embody characters that are right in the heart of the action, if it helps you as people understand and get your head around slightly what went on and what people had to go through.
I think what we're trying to do is, I think oftentimes in World War II films, I think that American soldiers specifically are always portrayed as, as fearless and as super heroic. And I think that, it's viewed as the Great War with very clear good versus evil, intonations to it. But I think what we're trying to do in this movie is dig a little bit deeper than that and show these guys that they were extremely war-torn and that they had endured enormous loss and that they, that they were very fearful, but that they went on anyway and they were fighting every day for the guy next to them. And that's what makes them heroic. But, I think it's just, it's a little bit of it's a deeper look.
Because one of my favourite aspects of the movie was that we don't romanticise over the troops in the sense that there's often more vitriol amongst them than they have against the enemy.
Right.
They're always arguing, kind of not being very nice to each other at times. I was wondering if that was something that attracted you both to the project, that kind of more human, more real take on.
Yeah, I'm
on
like
soldiers.
you want to do something like, well, David Ayer's a great writer, and you want to do something that's unique, and he's really good at that. Like he's really good at writing about family, which this is a dysfunctional family. With Brad being like the dad, and all of us are being like fighting, quarreling sons, and it was different. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like an action movie. There's there's a dinner scene where it has no action whatsoever. I don't know if necessarily that scene would be in any other war movie, and he just touches it, and he's really able to look at war and just every aspect of it.
Yeah, and I read that Shia LaBeouf went quite method for this role. Of course, there's all the sort of famous stories of him pulling out his tooth and giving himself a scar and not cleaning for the whole duration of the set, which can't have been too comfortable when you're in a sort of a close tank with him. But I was just wondering if you guys went method at all for this role, if you ever have done in the past for anything.
I think everybody kind of...
Yeah.
We didn't really have a choice in this one.
Yeah.
Shia's actions, I think... might seem out of the ordinary and crazy to people who weren't a part of this thing. But to us, it was just, that was kind of what was being asked of us. We were all asking to go steps beyond what we'd normally be comfortable with, and we were all asked to stay in this. And not just by David, but by our military advisors, by guys who had, who have gone and fought for their countries and who have lost brothers. They said, look, you're portraying the horrors of war. So don't leave set and run to the bar. Don't try to go reach for your creature comforts. Stay in this world as much as you can. And so I think that level of commitment was pretty uniform among everyone.
Yeah.
And did you guys get to meet any kind of US Armored Division
Yeah, we did
soldiers?
in the beginning. We did actually 5 months before shooting. And which I think is really instrumental because they kind of set the tone, you know what I mean? And it's really interesting when you see somebody who's 93 years old say, yeah, that guy made it, that guy didn't make it, it was a buddy. And they live with this for the rest of their lives, this is paying homage to those people that it's not just a war that, that they fight that's so, but it's also they carry the memories of that for the rest of their lives. They're with it forever,
Yeah, I was wondering as well, I mean, when we're watching the film, it can be slightly claustrophobic, obviously, because you're all kind of in this kind of tight area in this tank. How was it to actually shoot? Did it ever get quite... Because you guys did actually operate a real tank,
yeah,
right? So it must have been quite stuffy. But then again, in another sense, it must have helped you sort of immerse yourself in the story.
Yeah, it's part of the deal. We had to get comfortable in there, and we spent countless hours. Anytime the tank's moving, in this movie, Mike's driving it. Shia's operating the turret, I'm loading it. We got proficient on the tank, and hours and hours, days and days spent, living in that thing. You get comfortable with it, and crazy in a real crazy way, it actually becomes very, very comfortable. It becomes home after a while. Yeah. You get to know it really, really well. You get to know all the nooks and crannies and the little special parts of it, and it became a real special place for all of us.
In a way, that comfortability actually extends to the audience, because when we see you in the tank, we feel kind of safe as well.
Yeah, and it's so small, literally, just bruises all over the place. It's when you take a shot, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that came from.
And I just wondering, so, you guys went to a boot camp as well, is that right? How was that experience? I mean, it must be, because I suppose it must be quite in terms of like taking on a project like this, it must be the only way to approach it, I suppose, to kind of have to do all of this kind of.
I mean, it was brutal.
Stuff.
Yeah,
It was really brutal.
It was special. I mean, it was very hard. You know, it was set up by a guy named Kevin Vance. He's a Navy SEAL. And a couple of his Navy SEAL team members came. It was designed after a Navy SEAL Buds course. So basically, the deal was, we obviously didn't know it going in, but what the deal was basically to completely break us down and make us fail. Our rewards would have been sleep and food. Unfortunately, we were set up to fail over and over and over again, and that's how those courses are designed. And then slowly but surely, with the failing, you start blaming each other, you start going after each other a little bit, you start to fall apart individually and as a group. And then what happens is, once you start to recognize who's good at what and who's not good at what, you utilize each other's strengths and help each other with each other's weaknesses. And then by the end, you start succeeding, and you become a team, you become a unit, and that was essential for portraying a family on screen.
Yeah, I was wondering. So, I mean, there were some actors in the world who kind of, they almost transcend kind of fame. And I think, Brad Pitt's sort of one of them. There's this kind of few that they're just so ridiculously famous. And obviously, John, you worked with Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, obviously, as well, in the past couple of years. And I was just wondering, is there ever a time when you sort of turn around and just go, even though that you do consider them a colleague and you consider them a friend, and just look at them and just go, I'm shooting a scene with that guy. That's pretty cool.
No, I mean, like, the only time that happened is I'm like, because he's a regular guy and he works just as hard as anybody else. But like yesterday, we were in Paris, and like the fans were just going absolutely nuts. Remember, like
For Brad, yeah. No, but I mean, that's the thing to us. He's just
back me up, bro.
I mean, to us, it's like, since we've been through boot camp, we've been through sparring, we've been through, living in a tank with the guy for all. We just know him as Brad, and it's I'll tell you, he's unbelievably committed, and he was not only willing, but he was eager to dive into every part of this thing, and he was just a great guy to work with. He's a great man, really, really good guy. I'll tell you, for me, my first movie I ever did was World Trade Center, and I just had a tiny little part in it, but Mike Peña was the star of it, and so for me, to be honest with you, being in a movie with Mike Peña was just as cool, so
not to a lot of people, but like
to me,
at least to my buddy John. Thanks, bro.
Quickly, just a quick word on Ant-Man. I was just wondering how that is all coming along, and if you could tell us a little bit about your part.
I can't talk about it at all. Literally, like, I had to sign like page after page after page. I got a tattoo about it, and I'm like, I can't do it. Sorry about that, bro.
That's all right. You can cut the tape, actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey,